There's nothing like cracking that cellophane and pulling that record out. It just smells great.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Non-stop hardcore energy.
I love the show, guys. You're awesome.
Unlike any other.
With your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bod Father.
Man, this stuff rocks.
The views and opinions of the guests do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Hour, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Oh yeah! This is Anas.
And Alex. And Martin. From OXX. And you're listening to
BODS Mayhem Hour.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, aka the Bod Father. And as always, I'm bringing you guys and gals awesome interviews. And today I have an awesome band that's on the podcast with me today. Denmark-based avant technical metallic hardcore outfit OXX. They will release their fourth album entitled The Primordial Blues via Nefarious Industries. They're releasing this today, actually. Today of the show. Is this correct?
Yep.
Oh, buddy. Oh,
Extremely excited.
There you go. And they have released current singles, The Coast, The Hypostasis, The Lake, and Everything Around It. The record also features guest contributions of violin, viola from Christine Kier, cello from Amelia, double bass from Adrian Christensen, and piano from Esben Chelvin. How you guys doing? And welcome to the podcast. And please introduce yourselves.
I'm Anas. I play bass, guitar in OXX, and I'm a pretty new guy. So I've been around for around a year.
I'm Alex. I do vocals and play guitar in OXX, and I'm not new. I am the youngest, however.
Still the youngest.
Yes, the youngest and boldest.
Mm-hmm. And I'm Martin, and I play the drums. And I've been a part of OXX together with Alex from the beginning.
How did this trio come together? I know Anders is a new guy here starting out, but how did all this come together, guys?
Okay, so and you can help me out, Martin, if I lead myself astray. I think the shortest possible version is way back. I studied music at the conservatory here in Aarhus in Denmark, where we're based, together with Lasse, who used to be in OXX. He played the saxophone on the previous records. And originally it was his idea to do, I think the initial idea with the band was to do a sort of crossover jazz, heavy hardcore thing and have the saxophone, try to fit the saxophone into a more heavy metal based context. We didn't know each other beforehand, me and Martin, and then he put us together and we started playing, and then Lasse left the band 3 or 4 years ago.
Actually, I just have a little story that Lasse invited me to the conservatory to attend a concert with Alex and Lasse and another guy called Daniel, which is also one of our friends. And they played some of the material, like the really early material, and it was more like a really jazzy thing. And I remember when I watched the concert, I was like, I'm gonna be the drummer in this project for sure. Daniel, I give you 2 days and you're out of the band, I tell you. So and actually it went almost that way. Yeah. Because shortly after Lasse introduced me and Alex, and then and I remember Lasse said, "Yeah, I think you're gonna, you and Alex is a perfect match. I think you'll bond really well." And now it's 12 years since that day, so or 13.
Yeah,
and we've actually been bonding pretty well.
I think so. Yeah, it was the strangest thing. Like a couple of days after that concert, Daniel slipped on a banana peel and played the drums, and so then Martin joined the band.
And I fucking love banana. I don't know why. Yeah.
Wow, there you go, guys. So Alex and Martin, this band formed in 2012, but This is born in like the punk scene. Let's talk about this a little bit, man. How did you guys want to weave these elements of the avant-free music and Afrobeat, what you're doing now, plus more, to go this direction and not stay, stale or just do the same thing like everybody else is doing? What led you to say we're going to be different?
I think some of it is probably a conscious ambition. Like we have strong opinions about music and what we like and what we don't like, but partly it's also just, I think, an unavoidable consequence of our pretty diverse musical interests outside of OXX. Like, as we've touched on briefly before, me and Lasse, who used to be in OXX, went studied at the conservatory here in Aarhus, and at that point I played mostly avant-garde jazz. And then before and after, I'd been pretty active in hardcore bands as well. Yeah, so at the time OXX started, I played only free jazz and occasionally in a hardcore band called Fistfuck. And yeah, speaking on behalf of Martin as well, OXX is and has been for the last many years your only metal adjacent project, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I think it's natural for all of us that, like, even though we're sort of honing in on like one aspect of our musical interests, which in this case is heavy guitar-based music, since we're not like strictly coming from that school of playing and music, it's unavoidably going to be colored by everything else we've done and our tastes and sensibilities, but also limitations. Like, I think for me at least, there's a lot of things on the guitar that I'd humbly suggest that I'm maybe able to do that a lot of other metal guitar players are not able to do, while at the same time, like, I didn't grow up playing death metal for 10 years before we started OXX. So there's another like type of chops or language or a certain kind of technical facility that I lack or hasn't at least come natural to me. So I think, yeah, but by way of that, and as a consequence of us not being strictly metal or hardcore musicians exclusively, I think it was probably unavoidable that OXX ended up sounding as fucked up as it does.
As also, for me as a musician, I've only learned to use the double bass like last year, you know. But I haven't played death metal or anything like really kind of very technical metal or in any sense of that in other bands at all. But if you compare really technical jazz chops in a way, that's, you know, just as difficult or just as full of weird changes and all that kind of stuff as I don't know, Dillinger Escape Plan or whatever math tech thing you can put on. So, and for me, it's also a kind of, some would say it's a charm. I love to think of it as a charm, but I'm also really, it's difficult for me to play music where I play the same all the time. Like, every fill is the same, everything is really strict to the grid and so on. But it's that's also which makes us sound a little bit wonky at times, maybe, instead of being like really straight to the grid. Everybody's just like play to the metronome all their life and stuff like that. So sometimes it's a cool thing, and sometimes it's not that the best thing. But yeah, learn all the time and adjust as things evolve.
Yeah. I met Alex at the local training center where we both do powerlifting and weightlifting, and we talked a bit and bonded about music and lifting weight in particular. But my background is primarily adjacent for those guys in death metal, and I played death metal for 10-15 years almost in various bands and still do. And I really enjoy this because this is kind of forcing me to think outside the box, what I can do with my bass and my sound, and it's a trio, so I have a lot more room compared to playing with two guitarists and full on double bass and stuff and growling vocals. So that makes my role a bit more free, I guess, and creative.
But it's definitely it's a nice dynamic with the current lineup of OXX, in that, like, we actually have what's the best way to put this? an authentic born and bred extreme metal musician as opposed to us posers over here on the right.
Totally, yeah.
But I gotta know this though, especially for you, Alex and Martin. Was this challenging for you guys though to do the death metal, to switch over to this from what you're accustomed to? Was this a challenge at all?
Yes and no. Not in any of the obvious ways. Like the whole, speaking on my behalf only, like the technical aspects of it, not at all. But and I've been thinking about this a lot these last couple of days, especially because the record's coming out today, as we talked about. But I feel like in a way that the newest record, the Primordial Blues, it's a massive improvement over the previous OXX records. But the weird thing about it is that in some ways, I feel like it's the record we've always been capable of playing or making. And what I mean by that is that, like, in a technical sense, or as musicians in a craftsmanship sense, not much has changed. Like, it's not that we used to suck and now we're sick. It's more that we've spent a lot of time and a lot of energy, and we've had to spend a lot of time and energy to sort of assimilate the parts of the language, death metal, for example, that we wanted to use, and find a way into that aligned with our personal tastes, but also was respectful to those traditions that we wanted to incorporate. So in that sense, I say, like, just as with learning any other kind of music, it's been a challenge, or at least it takes work to get acquainted with the language and learn to interpret it in a respectful way, which I think is definitely a part of what OXX does, even though the death metal influence, for example, might not be immediately apparent when listening.
In a way, yeah, it's the beautiful thing about being in OXX is that we always try to improve our technical abilities, but also like the concept of writing an album, writing music. So it's not nothing is on autopilot or anything. So, for example, this record is full of motifs which are changed in different ways and kind of evolving like in different ways. And you maybe you can't even recognize it as a listener, but it's a lot of motifs which is in all the different songs and so on. And that's I've tried to build a vocabulary which of fills and ways of gaining dynamics and so on in this music, which was very different from all the other albums, because we have the way we've arranged and worked on this music is more like in a kind of arrangement way, instead of just being in shredding in the rehearsal room all the time. So to me, I've had much more time to actually sit and like compose in a way my drumming this time, instead of just burning out, just going crazy in the rehearsal room like a lot, which had maybe a more organic kind of feel on the previous record. It's also organic this, but different, more to the grid this one, but I got more conscious in my playing on this. So
I gotta know though, how excited are you guys to have the fourth album entitled The Primordial Blues? It's set to release today, guys. How excited are you to finally have this out and be done with it and just move on?
Fucking excited! It's fucking great, man. We're waiting. Actually, we were planning on releasing it in the spring, but we had to postpone it, and it was finished around February, maybe March or something.
Bass tracks were finished in February, but I finished recording everything on my part February last year.
Oh wow.
So we've been waiting a long time to get this out. So it's nice to finally, as you say, be able to move on.
Kind of ties the knot and
exactly.
Get to think forward. And
apart from the minor caveat that we now have to make sure that we're able to actually play this shit live, which is its own headache.
Yeah, that's the next step is playing them live.
yeah. And we had a tight deadline because the first gig is in a month. So so we're really sweating and putting in the chops at home.
Totally.
So what has Anders brought to this band that might have been missing possibly? What has he added to this band that's gave it the fire that it needed possibly? Or maybe no.
A lot of backbone.
There you go.
Totally. Like a tight entity to rely on.
Yeah.
And which is extremely nice and extremely powerful to play. To do that together, like it's.
Thanks, man.
That's Anders. He's a stable guy that you can go crazy on top of him, but he's like steady as a fucking stone. But that's fucking, man. Every time it's fucking cool.
Yeah. I'd say probably apart from being by far the most technically proficient bass player we've ever had in OXX, which is extremely important in itself. I think one of the key elements that Anders brings to the table is that he's an actual adult. I don't mean in terms of age, but Anders is the only member that's ever been in OXX who has his shit completely together, which has been a major upgrade in terms of getting like anything done.
I guess I'm pretty organized.
Yeah. So that's a massive boon as well.
Yeah.
Do you feel the new album had to come out strong for the band after the 2019 release of your third album, The Skeleton Is Just a Coat Hanger? I mean, did this album have to come out stronger for you guys or no?
Definitely. A lot of like the period in between the release of the previous album and this one has definitely been the most turbulent in the history of OXX, in that
the COVID also,
so we signed with Nefarious for the release of The Skeleton, started touring, did a very long tour in the US, and I was about to, the day before I was supposed to board the plane to embark on our second US tour, the airport got shut down due to COVID.
Oh.
Yeah, and then we lost, we've had 2 members leave the band and then got Anders in last year, so
when they finally opened up and we were able to play shows again.
Yeah, so these have definitely been a couple of pretty frustrating years in that we've been dealing with a lot of instability. And initially when the Skeleton Is Just a Coat Hanger, these are the black strings that make you dance, released, I was expecting a lot of gigging activity, both here in Europe and overseas. And sort of had my expectations set high for what was going to happen with OXX and the way that record was going to be ejected out into the world, which COVID sort of got in the way of. And so, instead, I think what ended up happening is that we put most of our energy into, writing this record. And so in trying to justify why we've been doing basically nothing, at least as far as the outside world can see these last couple of years, our excuse is the quality of this record, which I think has turned out pretty well. So definitely important for us.
Yeah, but how difficult was that to set on this album, knowing you've got it here? You couldn't do anything with this tour or anything hardly since COVID shut it down. Was it difficult to sit there and be like, oh God, I mean, where are we going to be at when we put this album out? Do we want to put this album out? Are we still going to be in that same mind frame? You know what I mean? Because some of this stuff ain't even going to come out from these bands. It's got like 4 and 5 albums that they said they've got during COVID.
I hear you. It definitely was. And I think especially as compared to some of the other more niche types of music that I'm involved in and that Martin is as well, like rock and all its subgenres, including metal and hardcore and so on. And these people tend to get very caught up in certain ways of thinking about what it means to be in a band and make music and promoting that. Like we tend to think pretty rigidly about like write an album, then release it and go tour to support it, get back home, write another. Like it's all part of the same cycle. And I think for us, it was an adjustment, but ultimately a healthy one to have to sort of get back to just
creating.
Writing songs and making art for the enjoyment of it without without even being able to think in terms of touring or promotion or any of that.
How did the band approach this new album when you first started writing on it and getting ideas for it? How did you guys start the ball rolling on this one? Possible.
A lot of talking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a lot of talking.
Yeah.
And I can't remember maybe because the writing process is a lot of talking, a lot of testing things out, and then a lot of Alex shredding stuff out and then sending, or then we like it's mainly your ideas and like concepts of riffs and setup of arrangements and so on, and then I tend to see it as a challenge to somehow complement the music the best as it can, and then in the same way Alex is really open for changes, or it's not a rigid system or any hierarchy or anything, but it's more like a system where we talk a lot about where we want to go and what makes sense to the music. So but it seems like a natural flow for us that we tend to talk about concepts and crazy things, and then Alex, he kind of disappears for, I don't know, he doesn't disappear, but he like goes into some deep well somewhere, and then he turns up with something and then show to us, to the other, like us, and then
the riff comes out.
Yeah, and then the riff comes out, and then we also actually during COVID we did a lot of rehearsing at my son's in his what do you call this? I think this room.
Yeah.
There was dinosaurs everywhere, and there was all kinds of kids toys, and then I had my electronic drum kit, and then we set up with a sound card, and then we just jammed with in Ableton.
Yeah, it sounds horrible.
Yeah, it sounded horrible, but we just had fun, like just for headphones, and then did all kinds of riffing and then the concept come, but yeah.
So I think in a lot of ways our approach to this record has very much been defined by the whole the COVID thing to a large part, but also the change of members, because I think we had a period of 6 months or so where we didn't even rehearse, but where we still met up. That was before Anders joined, back when for a period of time OXX was only me and Martin between these two records, where we'd still meet up regularly at our scheduled rehearsal days without playing a note and just talking about movies and video games and music, specifically geared towards how we were gonna let various kinds of media influence the coming record, and what aesthetics, specific or abstract, we wanted to be part of this record before we started writing it. So there was a pretty conscious period before putting pen to paper of us just talking about what we liked and what we didn't like, and the kind of music we want to make. And I think that was a pretty healthy decision.
What about you, Anders? When you came into this with these guys working on this album, was there anything specifically that you wanted to add that possibly was missing? Maybe.
Yes, as mentioned, Martin and Alex have already recorded guitars and vocals and synth, and you had the MIDI bass tracks and tablature for me to rehearse, and I guess I got the freedom to more or less play this and maybe tweak up stuff and listen where could I add dynamics in what was already recorded, since I couldn't, make Martin play a backbeat when there was instead a Latin shuffle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So how can I fit my thing in here? And so I had a lot of learning to do, and I say, guys, give me 14 days, I think. Let me record this stuff, and I'll get through it and make it in pieces and make it come naturally instead of taking a lot of time with and rehearse it. Just let me see what's best for this fit that you already thought through some way. So it was a nice challenge, but I'm also looking forward to be more part of the creative process for the next, whenever that may be. But now it's more or less time for making the music come alive.
That shows something about Anders' mentality. You know, he learned the material and he recorded the material within 2 weeks, like in the mornings.
Yeah,
like
before work.
Before work in the morning, like
and the night also.
And the night, but you know, family life, full-time work, all that. That shows something. Seriously,
that's dedication. That's full dedication right there. Did the band add anything differently on this album musically than what fans are accustomed to hearing from OXX? Did you guys add anything differently that they're going to be like, wow, I didn't know they could do anything like this possibly?
Yeah, I think the overt examples of that is that, you know, we have a string quartet playing on both ends of the last track on the record. So like, yeah, and that's a pretty a significant but also a sort of immediately apparent or surface level difference that we have. There's a wider variety of instruments in this record. We have a string quartet. There's a lot of piano throughout. We've always sort of hidden synthesizers at strategic points on the records, but yeah, they're more overt this time, I think. So that's a big part of it, but
I guess there's also a lot more lead work.
Yeah, that's right. There's a lot more lead guitar.
So the last record had what, like 3 solos or something like that.
Yeah, and this one has a song.
Yeah. So,
but also like, I'm giving you the chance to stop me before I venture off into what is possibly irrelevant digression, because I want to start talking about influences and stuff like that now. And I think it pertains to your question, but if I get too far off track, please, just let me know. But I think there's some, and I don't know if it's immediately noticeable or not, but there are some distinct new influences on OXX that we've worked consciously on integrating into the sound that wasn't there on the previous record. Like for me personally, I spent most of COVID playing bluegrass and doing that and completely abandoning the electric guitar. And so that's been like the foundational or guiding aesthetic for me when writing the OXX stuff on the electric guitar has sort of been that I was super preoccupied with trying to do the whole dreadnought flat picking thing, and sort of trying to find ways to sneak that into, you know, whatever OXX is, both in ways maybe apparent and ways not so apparent. It's an abstract aesthetic thing, of course, being attracted to the whole the sound and the mythology of that, but also some technical stuff. So I think basically my chief influence, at least on this record, and one of the chief goals for me was trying to sneak in as much bluegrass influence as possible. And if anyone notices that, I'll be happy.
Hey, look, I'm in Eastern Kentucky, so bluegrass is absolutely at the helm of stuff over here. Yeah. So I know bluegrass like the back of my hand. So it's the prominent genre in countries here too. So it's so
nice.
Sometimes, sir. Sometimes. What led the track "The Coast" to be the first song released off of this album, guys? What was it about that song that said that's going out first?
Because it's a fucking great track. It's a fucking banger. It has everything, you know. It starts with the piano thing, so, and then that will definitely make people think what's up, what the fuck is going on. And then it has this clave thing going on there that nobody can count, which is nice. And then it goes kind of crazy, and it's a beautiful song with a lot of different dynamics and lot of different things and party riffs and
and a really banger on ending. Also,
this is
where
true.
Where you can smack. So it's a good opening number track on the record. So because I can tap my head and then bob my head there for the last a minute or something.
It's a banger song. So
Was there a track for this album that totally ended up sounding different than what it was intended to? Was there one that kept changing for you guys, or no?
Yeah. So we had the sixth song on the record. I think the one called "The Flagellant." I think the closest OXX has ever been to breaking up. Like the core group of OXX was that we had scheduled studio time for Martin to record the drums, and on the day that he was supposed to start recording, I brought in that song completely reworked. Like nothing was similar to what we looked at before. And I was just stoked about, it actually, like I finally found, some permutation of those riffs that didn't suck.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just stoked about there being a decent song for the record. And I was super optimistic about Martin laying something down on it, but we had a minor meltdown over trying to figure out how to get that song ready for the record in basically a couple of hours.
We did all the drum tracking in 4 days for all the and which was included 1 day of not getting our friend who would help us set up the recording studio kind of thing, because we recorded here at a venue where I work. And then the first day we couldn't get hold of him because he wasn't there. So and then it was like 3.5 days of like intimate, really intense recording. And the flagellant was one of the toughest ones, but actually Coast was also a song which I've never heard before. Like,
that's right.
Like, and not at all, not even one note from that song did I hear before we had to record. And seriously, it's a really tough song. It's not easy. It's not easy going song. But now I'm actually especially that song, I'm pretty proud of the drumming on that song, especially in the outro as well. It's really jazzy, actually, full of all of my big band chops is in that song. But it was, I can't even remember how we did it, but it was that was intense.
But so those two are probably the biggest curveballs in that. We had no point of reference when we started to record those.
Like, how can you do that to Martin? I mean, he's sitting here ready to go.
I told Alex the same. How can you do this to me? What the fuck?
I'm glad you bring this up. This is a recurring. I justify all my bullshit. I say it's in the service of art. Like for the sake of the record. That's how I can do it to Martin.
Yeah, for the sake of the record, you're gonna do this shit over it. What the fuck? What? No? What the hell?
I hope you brought
I didn't.
You can't spring this on me the day of the fucking recording, damn it. What the hell?
Look how it turned out.
Yeah. It turned out to be something to be fucking proud of.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. Yeah.
First single from the album.
Yeah.
Great video.
Yeah, great video as well.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
See, Alex looks like he knows what he's doing. Yeah, man. See, I told you, the banger right there. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm glad you understand.
Any track standing out more to each of you than any right now on this album? I know these are your babies, but are there any that are sticking out possibly?
I guess, well, they're all kind of different, I guess, but I really, really like The Lake, the third single, because it's diverse and it's mellow in its own way, and it has a really nice sludgy ending where you can like really get your emotions out on the stage and enjoy playing. And it's also not a hard song compared to some of the others, but it's long and intricate in its own way. And a beautiful song, beautiful ending.
That's my pick as well, for the exact same reasons that Anders mentioned. I think, it's sort of the, more than any other song on the record, I look at that one as the fruits of all our hard labor these last couple of years. Like we've been pretty confused stylistically in OXX in some ways, in that we've always drawn a lot on the weird jazzy avant-garde shit, which like sort of by default puts you into the same box as, you know, all those mathcore bands, Dillinger Escape Plan and so on, or even Miss Sugar, though that's pretty different. And I think just as big a part of like what we love about heavy music and metal is, you know, the slower, more sludgy, atmospheric stuff. Yeah, sludgy stuff like shit like Earth or Neurosis or something like that. And I think that's sort of been a central conflict of us figuring out our aesthetic has been to find a natural or non-contrived way of combining those two. And I think on that track, the lake and everything around it, that's sort of our best attempt at doing that so far. And that like it's got this slow atmospheric mid-tempo thing going on while the language is still very much OXX and very fucked up and decidedly unheadbangable most of the time. So yeah, that's the one for me as well.
What about you, man?
Yeah. If the lake has something, just this, it has this special, like somehow it has every aspect of OXX in it, and that's it.
Yeah. The guitar solo is pretty good as well.
It is. Mm-hmm. You're actually having fun in the video as well, like smiling and hey, check out, man, this is fun. Yeah.
What I'm hearing and what I'm liking is you're bringing guitar solos back. That's the prime key right there for me, because traditionally when I don't care if you're black metal, death metal, whatever, heavy metal, whatever, rock, there is a traditional guitar solo, and it has been gone way too long in these new albums from some folks. So I'm going, why? Bring it back.
Hell yeah, man.
Well, I'm glad you say that. Yeah, it's definitely something to a nice lead section, melody section, and so
that's the soul of the song, man. The guitar solo. That's what everybody looks for.
It's the same dang problem, right?
Yep.
Poor Kirk, man. Poor Kirk.
Poor Kirk. There's no solos on Sanganger.
Any songs that didn't make this album, we can see on another album, EP, or just maybe a standalone single down the road from you all.
Yeah, there is. We didn't record it, but yeah, there's one song left over from the writing sessions it's insanely complicated and insanely fast. Yeah. For the record, I want to state, of course, that it's not a cop out that we didn't record it. It was for purely aesthetic reasons. But coincidentally, it's extremely hard to play, and among other reasons, that's a pretty good incentive to get it worked into something else at one point.
Yes, it's not a problem, it's a challenge.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah, so
there you go. That's it. Is the track listing placement important for your album or EP releases, guys?
Oh, you're opening a can of worms here.
Oh no.
Do we have another hour? I'll do my very best to be brief. This is going to take some effort. So the whole concept of the record it's written as or the lyrics are written as something called a sonnet corona, which is a super rigid structure of writing a sonnet, which is a specific way of structuring a poem, and then you have to write out 12 sonnets that all individually adhere to the rules of sonnet writing, and then between each other adhere to a sort of a larger and just as rigid superstructure. Super geeky and boring shit that I'll spare you the details, but the point is the lyrics are written in sequence, and the sequence of the lyrics and the way they coincide with specific riffs on the record, it's inseparable. So the only running order of the record is the one we have now, because the music adheres to the lyrics, and the order of the lyrics is it's laid out pretty rigidly as well.
So you can also see the 8 tracks, like it's an A and a B side, right? Yeah, where we have the 2 sludgy or more heavy tracks ending both sides. We have the lake on one side A, and
the
title track, the Primordial Blues, ending side B.
That's part of consideration.
Yeah.
I always like hearing those albums where you kind of look at the title tracks, you're like, well, this is going to tell a story. You know, just off the bat, you read it, you're like, oh, this is going to be good.
Yeah.
And I know some bands just throw stuff out there and just put the tracks out there, but I'm a Peak and Valley guy, if that makes sense. I want songs that's going to take you on a roller coaster in a way.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, nice, man.
Aska did the album artwork, and layout was done by Greg Messenberg. How was working with these folks on this?
Aske is a long time collaborator. He's done all more or less all the art on only not for the first, but sorry, for the last
two records.
Aske has done the art. Yeah. So Aske is a good friend and extremely gifted artist, and it's lovely to just check his things out and just, hey, Aske, that piece of work that it matches it matches the music. Hey, what's up?
Can we use it?
Can we use it? And then he's yeah.
Yeah, Aske is just a great guy and an extremely accomplished painter. Yeah, and we're just stoked that he continues to let us defile his work by putting it in connection with our shitty tunes.
But Greg, as on the other hand, he's one having the label, owning the label.
Greg owns the Nefarious.
Yeah, so he did the layout and in accordance with our proposals.
Yeah, but our hands are tied. We can't say anything negative about that.
Greg, you did good. They love it. They did good. It's great.
Yeah.
We owe everything.
Nicest guy ever met.
Yeah.
These next few questions is all about you three. It's going to be, we're going to throw OXX out the window. We're going to focus it mainly on you three. These next just couple questions.
We're ready.
If you could write an album equivalent to your favorite band's album, which album would that be?
So Chaosphere in accordance with Times of Grace or something like that.
Nice.
From Meshuggah and Neurosis combined.
Yeah, that sounds like. I think I will. I would love like Jane Doe, Oxbow, the Fuckfest.
Yeah.
I think I'll do like a Converge Oxbow Fuckfest thing.
Yeah. Oxbow is also really great.
For me, it's probably either. If we're talking vocal or guitar-based music, I'd say Blues Funeral by Mark Lanegan. Do you know that one? Best record I ever heard. So
D1.
Yeah.
Either that or the other one that pops into my mind right now is John Coltrane's Love Supreme.
Yeah.
If I could actually sing like Mark Lanegan or play the saxophone, I wouldn't be doing any of this. Here we are.
Yeah.
What's been your most memorable show that the band has been a part of that you still can't believe to this day that you guys are a part of, possibly, if it's happened already?
First one with me.
This is true. First one with Anders.
The first one with Anders, definitely.
Yeah, it was a nice show in Aalborg. I guess we supported a nice Norwegian band.
Yeah, what the fuck are they called?
This Gift is a Curse.
Yeah,
it's really great black and hardcore band from Norway.
Yeah, and together with another band as well. Was it?
You're Tvivler.
Yeah, Tvivler.
Tvivler, Danish hardcore punk with the Danish lyrics.
Yeah,
really great band.
Yeah.
So I'd say so a tricky thing here is that since Anders and Martin are functional adults to a way high degree that I am, I sometimes go on tours with like replacements. I've done that a couple of times to sort of get the word out and stay out of trouble. So I have a story about a pretty meaningful show, but unfortunately it doesn't involve.
No.
Anders
let's hear it.
and Martin.
Yeah. Let it go.
The short version of it is that we went on I went on a tour of Eastern Europe this last winter together with Cleric from New York, which was pretty chaotic. Like some people were supposed to put in some work in getting the shows booked, and ultimately we didn't end up having as many shows as we hoped, and some of the shows were pretty. Yeah, it was pretty chaotic. Point being, we went to, I think it was Warsaw in Poland. At the ass end of the tour, I'm pretty sure everyone else in the van, apart from me, were Jewish, And so we went to this Polish bar to play, tired as fuck, and just I was just desperate for non-musician company. So I start talking to the owner, and he seems like a super nice guy. He's bald like me, has tattoos, and he's watching boxing. So I get to talk sports for the first time in 3 months. So I attach myself to this guy and decide that we're best friends. And he's fucking nice. We're having a great time. He's making me coffee, and I sort of, for the first time in a week, I breathe a sigh of relief and sort of get to just relax and be
Alex.
Yeah, Alex instead of Alex from OXX for just an hour. And so I'm super stoked about playing at this bar now and looking forward to the gig. And then all of a sudden, as soon as people start doing the load-in and the doors stay open, people put on their shirts, and everyone all the staff have iron crosses all the way down. So it turns out, yeah, exactly. And I hadn't looked around in the bar at all. I just started talking to this guy and started having a good time. So it turns out it was a Nazi bar. Yeah, and we're 7 people, 6 out of which 6 are Jewish, and sort of have to surreptitiously make it through that show.
Yeah,
nothing happened, but for the next 4 hours, I thought a lot about what's that movie called, Green Room.
Yeah,
dude.
In hindsight, that was a pretty fun show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they had German military helmets from the Second World War and shit in the bar. And straight up swastikas. It was a scene.
Yeah. It's been,
dude, I don't know if those are replicas. Were those replica helmets? Were they actual legitimate helmets?
I don't know.
I have no idea. Both seems plausible to me. Like
Goodness gracious, you've got some Jewish folks in a Nazi bar. Oh my God, that's not...
It was probably fun on the road from there.
Yeah.
As soon as we left, the moment we left, it became a great story.
Just all that history with all that, man, is just...
definitely. In Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
If each one of you could be a member in an iconic band and play one of their legendary shows, which band would that be and what show would it be, guys? Which band would you want to be an iconic one and be?
I know exactly when I would be Jason Newsted and I would be playing with Metallica in '92 and in the iconic shows with what they call each Shit and Bing Purge.
Oh yeah,
live Shit and Purge 3-hour show. I would love that.
Nice.
And I would sweat just as much as Jason did.
Nice. Do you want to answer next? I have to think.
I think I would just want to be, and all things like, I don't know how the atmosphere and the things about the Pantera are these days, but anyways, I would love to be Dimebag Darrell through the whole tour, which they portraited in the home video 3.
That would be a nice run.
Yeah.
But are you glad to see them doing a tribute? I call it a tribute show, to Dime and Vin. Are you glad to see them doing this, Martin?
No, not really.
Okay.
Not really. No.
I am.
Yeah.
Not to interrupt. Just
cool. Yeah.
I agree with Alex, and I'm we all have our opinions, and that's fine. But if it gives, I've said this many times on this podcast, if it gives Phil and Rex that closure to move on, let them.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, it's I don't have much I don't know. I haven't given it much thought, actually, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think I have nothing against it at all.
It's nice that the music still lives and Zach plays the mean guitar,
Sure.
So
this is a very important part of it. I'm an unapologetic Zach Wilde worshipper.
Yeah.
I think he's the fucking best.
Yeah.
I love him so much.
Yeah.
So him playing Pantera songs, that's perfect in my book.
That's nice. Yeah.
I have to think of something as well. I really want to answer this as well, but there's so many.
I've always wanted to be
vocal. What about vocal wise? Any or guitar wise?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's I probably get back around some John Coltrane shit again. I'd probably just want to be that good, like playing with his. If anyone out there is interested in jazz, the quartet with Elvin Jones and McCoy Tyner and so on, playing one gig with that band as John Coltrane, being able to play at that level, I'd like that for purely selfish reasons.
Yeah.
I think that'd be pretty sick. So yeah, that's my answer.
Nothing wrong with that, man. I like seeing these diversities of music to where, you're playing in a hardcore band and death metal band. It's like, I want to play with John Coltrane. It's totally different. I love seeing that because that shows you that people are just not metal. There's other stuff out there that they like. You know what I'm saying? I love seeing that, man. Love it. All right, folks. OXX has released their 4th album entitled The Primordial Blues. I said it right that fucking time. Via Nefarious Industries. It's out today, August 18th at the time of this interview. And man, please go out and check this band out. Grab their older stuff. Check them out. Give them a fair shot. And guys, how can folks stay in touch with OXX? Buy all this stuff, the new album, everything under the sun for OXX. How can they do that?
Keep up with our socials and stuff like that. We plan to release some nice playthroughs, perhaps some shorts on how to do our intricate stuff, and of course we're gonna do some shows first and foremost in Denmark here for the next 3 or 4 months, and we plan some outside activity in 24. Definitely. But Instagram, Facebook, Bandcamp. Please sign up for Bandcamp.
OXX Music and all those.
And I'll tell you this right now, I will have all these links in this description in this interview. When it's posted, everything will be here, so that way nobody can say I don't know where to go get it. It's right there.
Great, man. And a shout out to you, man. But a shout out to you because it's a fucking important work that you're putting in, presenting like niche music in your environment where you are in North Kentucky, right?
Eastern Kentucky, North America, yeah.
But it's places like that. It's difficult for niches. I come from the countryside myself. Whatever. It's not just around, So it's totally, man. Huge kudos and respect for that work.
Like everybody's in a fucking band, but actually, actually putting work in to shine light on other people's shit. Yeah, like that's fighting the good fight. So thanks so much.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Everybody, stick around. We got some great stuff coming up. You only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour. Please get out and check out our Facebook page. There's our podcast link and our YouTube link that you definitely want to go subscribe to. And please, if you like what I'm doing, go subscribe and give me a fair shot as well. OXX has released their 4th album entitled The Primordial Blues via Nefarious Industries today. It's released today. Go give them a fair shot. Check out the singles The Coast, The Hypostasis, and The Lake, and everything around it. I'm asking nicely. Give these guys a fair shot, folks. And guys, thank you so much for doing this interview, and I wish you guys nothing but the best of luck.
Thank you so much, man. This was fun.
Definitely.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.